My name is Lisa and I'm the Experience Manager at Scitech. We're a science centre in Western Australia in Perth. Welcome to our new exhibition. We're really passionate about technology for good, and what I'm hoping to show you all today is how we use technology in the museum science centre environment to really help people once they leave the exhibition space to go out there and do amazing things. So I'm just going to move into the exhibition space a bit more.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone to our exhibition Earth Matters, Rethink the Future. I just want to tell you a little bit about the story of how this exhibition came to be. So what happened originally is we were given a brief to create an exhibition about technology. And when we went out there and actually asked our audiences what they're interested in, they said it wasn't technology itself, it was how technology is used to solve problems. And when we prompted them and asked further questions and said what problems, they very much the number one thing they all wanted us to look at were changes happening in our natural world, things such as climate change, loss of biodiversity. And they wanted to go to this exhibition and come away from it feeling inspired that they could do things themselves to make the world a bit of a better place. I'm going to take you through the exhibition. We're going to be looking mainly at the ones which use technology in really interesting ways, so the different exhibits in here. So I'll take you through to our microgrid exhibit. And before I do that, I just want to quickly introduce you to Quinton over here.
Hi.
He's one of my colleagues. He's an experience planner here, focuses on UX, so the user experience of using exhibits. We've also got Mike, who's on the camera.
Hello.
And you'll get to meet him a bit more later on as well. So yeah, come through. Oh, it's a bit hard to see actually. So what we have here is one of our hero exhibits called the Microgrid, or otherwise known as the Microgrid Playground. So microgrids are mini local electrical grids that are built for sharing energy. So we developed this exhibit to really highlight that and help people understand how a microgrid works, and also be a really game-like experience that is a lot of fun, that gets people collaborating and working together, because you actually really need to work together to meet the final goal in this exhibit. We might just jump on and have a play. So we've got a handheld generator here, which is built for accessibility. Yeah, so Quinton's over there. He's on Windville.
I'm on Windville. So I'm generating power for a suburb of microtown called Windville, and I'm simulating a wind farm as I generate energy. I can generate energy here and start storing it into my battery. And as you can see there, and it's waking up the suburb, and I can start to choose. Lisa's working hard, she's impersonating the sun, generating solar energy for her suburb. Now we actually get a choice here to share our excess energy. We get to choose here where our excess energy goes. So discrete quadrants of the microgrid can trade their energy, and the aim of the game is to collectively power our central downtown and eventually have everybody powered where we'll reach a goal.
And what happens, Clinton, when there's more people on the exhibit and everyone's working together?
When everyone's working together, they can generate, basically they can reach a state where everyone's at a very healthy battery level, and they can reach a final celebration together, where the town sees fireworks and a big audio sensory kind of celebration.
So have you found participants who don't know each other working together as a team?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Visitors at different ages and from different groups soon realise that they can share with each other and achieve something together. It's pretty cool.
And what do you think the benefits are when they go back to their home environments regarding their energy usage?
They go home with, I guess, good questions about how they question what's behind the energy that they're using, what choices can they make, I guess.
Good. And is this one of the most popular experiences, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids flock to it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Great, so we'll come over to our water pump exhibit next. So we'll just pop over here. So this is one of my favourite exhibits for a couple of reasons. The first of them because it came from an idea which was from one of our audience members. So yeah, it gives me a little bit of a warm, nice, fuzzy feeling when I think that we were able to help make one of their ideas come to life. But the other reason I really like this exhibit is because it's a great combination of physical and digital. So Quentin, do you want to jump
Sure.
on and give it a go?
Okay, so let's start by, I don't know if you can hear that, I get a bit of feedback here. How thirsty are your things? Let's find out. So, I could find out how much water it takes to actually make steak. Now, I can start pumping to guess. So,
And you can see you have to use quite a lot of power and body action, which a lot of the kids just love. You see them really throwing themselves into it.
so this is getting us to actually feel
Yeah.
the volume. I'm getting tired now, and I think maybe 30, 40 litres. I reckon that could be a bit of a good guess. So let's check how close I was. So 40 litres doesn't even fill up the bar, and that's 1%.
Right, you could have a nibble on a steak.
Yeah.
And you get some fantastic reactions from parents and kids when they get a bit of a surprise how much water it does take to produce different items, especially when they put all that effort into pumping.
So it takes 12,760 litres for one steak.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the question on my mind straight away as a player is, well, what in the process uses that water? And so now I have a good launch pad for investigation.
Yeah. So are people surprised when they find out the levels of water used to create the products?
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So there are also some low water use things in here.
Yeah, a cup of tea, generally.
Cup of tea.
So it's an exhibit that really gets people thinking about their own water usage at home as well.
Especially as where we live in WA, water being so precious.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so it takes 28 litres of water generally to produce the tea.
Right, so 28 litres of water for one cup of tea.
So there's another exhibit where water is a key feature as well, where you can actually experience rain falling around you. So we'll take you over there now to our Banksia Woodland, which is a large immersive exhibit which uses some really cutting edge technology. So yeah, come with us. So yeah, here you can see some of the different species that you're about to see within the Banksia Woodland. And it says, can you find them in there? So yeah, let's go in. And just to explain for those of you who might be watching around the world who aren't familiar with Banksia Woodlands, they're a unique environment here in Western Australia that we can all learn from. It's a biodiversity hotspot. So yeah, come through. So in this particular exhibit, it takes you on a journey over 6 different seasons. And the reason why it's 6 seasons is because the Aboriginal people local to the area, they have 6 seasons, not the traditional 4. So in this experience, you'll actually experience what happens in each of those seasons, what animals there are. There's a large fire that comes through. There's another season where there's rainfall. Another one where all the wildflowers come out. So you can see now that this is the start of the bushfire season, in fact. So we've got the majestic Carnaby's cockatoo up here, which is an endangered species. Yeah, so the amazing thing about this exhibit is the technology that's been used as well as the incredible artwork. So up the back we have 2 LiDARs, and we're using a system called Augmenta, which is a software system from some innovative people in France. So when you walk about the space, there are different things that you can interact with on the floor at different points. So there are things like frogs which pop back into their burrows, moaning frogs, which are a species native to the area. There's wildflowers which you can step on and will actually wilt under your feet. So here we've got one of our lizards.
Fiery tongues with blackened stumps.
Can you tell us whose voice we're hearing right now?
So this is an Indigenous elder, Noel Nana, and so he, at the start of each season, he does an introduction and narrates and tells you what to expect in this season. One of the really beautiful things about this experience are the interactions between parents and grandparents and children. So they're really learning side by side together, which I know is one of the key things of the conference. So what you get is you get people, adults sitting up the back generally, and children who are having a ball just interacting with the floor and things that are happening, chasing frogs. And then you get parents who are narrating the experience as well, asking them questions, saying, what do you think is going to happen now the fire is gone? And, for example, right now we've got some green growth happening as we transition to the next season. So, I've seen really beautiful conversations between grandparents and parents and children in here. And also, talking about the theme of this exhibit, which is to tread lightly on the earth. So the lighter you tread in here, the more you will see. So, the hope is that translates for when people go out and walk through, real bushland and real environments as well.
And did somebody actually thank you? They came here and they experienced it, and it actually reminded them of their childhood.
Definitely. I've heard people who talk about. I think one of the most amazing things was to have a well-respected Indigenous person in the community come in and talk about how special it is for her to be able to experience this and bring in her grandchildren as well. So here we have the moaning frogs, and they actually bury back in to the sand when you approach them. So the entire experience is about 12 minutes long, and I think the record we've had is someone sitting in here and interacting as well for 3 rounds, 3 cycles of all the 6 seasons. Yeah, so I might take you over to some of our other exhibits. So we're going to leave the Banksia Woodlands now. So this is in a zone of the exhibition called Understand, and so it's another one which uses projectors, or one projector, and then we have a big wheel which you can turn, which has an animation on it. And what you can do is see changes over time in the Arctic sea ice extents, right from, oh, what's the first year again? I have to check. Just going back. 1918. So you can see the difference. Oh, 1918. From there to. Hello. I'm hoping I'm back online. So yeah, I'll keep going. So sorry for that interruption. We had a technical difficulty. So yeah, we're back here at the Coral Reef. So yeah, I was just explaining how in this exhibit you get to do a quiz. You answer different questions, and depending on your answers, that has an impact on the projected reef that you see in front of you. So if you answer in a way that, I'll give an example. So you're a fashion designer working on a new collection of clothes. What type of fabric are you going to choose for your designs? I'm going to choose 100% cotton. So that has had a positive impact on the reef. So you can see there are more fish starting to emerge. It's a little bit more colourful. And what happens is the more correct answers you get, the more life appears on the reef.
So the reef is actually split in half, and there are 2 consoles. So we get to have multiple users comparing their reef health against each other. We get to see the difference between health levels.
How was this reef made?
This particular reef, it's a massive 3D print, and then it's projection mapped.
So was it printed in 2 halves because it was so big?
It was printed in 2 really large halves, yeah.
Oh, we've gone again.
Oh, I've got it again. It says it's live.
Okay, I'll follow you.
I will keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We did set out, we said, well, I know these are all problems I face.
So over here we have an exhibit which we call Emissions. It uses augmented reality. So you can see there's a young boy over here using this at the moment. So what you can do is you can this. So you can put together the puzzle pieces. I want to go back. You want to go back?
Okay.
Fair enough.
See you later.
Sorry about that. I think I interrupted him. And then you can put them in front of the camera. So I've chosen to compare a bicycle and a train. So you can see up here that we can compare the emissions. And we can do that over different distances as well and see what happens.
I'm going to go a bit more side on with the column.
Yeah.
So we get to see the volume of CO2 or emissions.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't read the emissions because of the contrast on this camera.
Okay.
But
Camera, right.
believe me, the emissions are on. Oh, that's better. I can see them now. Yeah.
So you can see that obviously the train has a lot more emissions than the bicycle.
Due to the scale of the figures, augmented reality and 3D graphics was a good choice to illustrate the difference.
Yeah. So sometimes if you put in something like for the aeroplane, if you put in something that's a little bit ridiculous, it has some quite little amusing comments as well. Like, would you fly 10 kilometers?
So our exhibits have a sense of humour as well.
Yeah.
They do.
Yes. And would I be right in thinking the pucks, as these are known, went through several iterations in the design phase?
Yeah.
There were many different prototypes to get this simple park to function. So if you're ever doing anything with augmented reality, the actual design of the icon is really important. Expect to do quite a few iterations just to get it working.
And how many iterations would you say it took before we got to the final example that we see here?
Well, I think this actual exhibit itself had many iterations. It was once going to feature many large ping pong balls.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's a whole other story.
So usability played a key factor in those iterations. I mean, so in order to get the camera to recognize the symbols is one thing, but then in order to let them be comfortable to use and safe and to make sense to users is another thing you have to balance with.
Even the use of we did look at using just a plastic, but we wanted to fit with the look and feel of the exhibition, where we've used a lot of plywood within the space.
Renewable resources.
Yeah. So I'll take you through to just one last zone, which is the reimagination zone, which is just through here. So as great as it is using technology to really show people, all the changes that are happening in the natural world, one thing we wanted to do was to help people be inspired to make changes themselves, was to show them how a lot of people are working to solve environmental challenges. So we've got a local inventor who's created an electric bike that he designed with the intention of being as easy to use as a car. And we have Keep Up, we have Climate Clever, who are a great organisation who created an app where you can measure your carbon emissions and make changes.
So this bike, Climate Clever and Keep Up, all Australian initiatives. Is that correct?
They are. And then once people have listened to the stories, seen the prototypes, they can come over to our solutions wall and take on their own challenges. So, for example, this one is my idea to inspire people to grow their own food is, and then people have given their ideas such as community gardens, bush tucker, make a fruit and vegetable contest, and lots of lovely ideas from people.
And would I be correct in thinking all these ideas have been saved?
Yeah, so we've had many ideas. The board is, we've just taken down a lot of ideas to create more room for people to add more. So yeah, we're keeping them all.
We're actually encouraging them to reuse
We are,
backs as well.
Yeah. Partly because we've been running low because so many people have been keen to add their own ideas. Just going to take you through to another area within Scitech, within the Science Centre, which is our tinkering space, which is also where we get people hands-on to extend their learning. So I'm going to hand over to Mike now, who's going to walk you over there and show you what we're doing in that space.
Hi guys, you follow me? I'll take you to the tinkering space. So these exhibits are all immersive, all interactive, but the tinkering space, you get to go in there and you get to tinker. And I'll explain what tinkering is once we get there. I'll take you to the centre. So this is the Earth Matters, which is our feature exhibition at the moment. We go through the centre. We've been here a long time, since about 1988. And here is our very well-loved exhibits that you can visit on a day-to-day basis. Some of these have been here a long time. We've had children come here and use these, whose parents before have come and use them, even possibly grandparents. So we've got 3 generations of users so far. So these these units have been here a long, long time. Normally, the centre would be absolutely full. It is now coming up to 4 o'clock, so it's getting a bit quieter. But yeah, so this is the tinkering space. It's up by our lime green branding. I'll take you through. We have two tinkerers in there as I speak. Lovely. Oh, I've left my notes behind, so I'm going to wing it on this. So this is the tinkering zone. This is an experience we call Sustainable Suburbs. So we thought we would create an experience where people could actually rethink the suburbs they lived in. How could they make them more sustainable? What materials would they use? What would they build? Now, there's a design process we use for this, which is, I'll take you through now, the slow innovation process. 5 basic steps, which is need, think, make, try, refine. So need is basically creating your purpose. What is the reason why you're doing this? Researching your problem, consulting people who you might be able to think might be able to help you, thinking about the problem, brainstorming, designing the problem, sketching, building iterations of it using modeling, making it so you can test it, so you can prototype it, so you can make simulations, trying it out. Failing is so important. When things go wrong, it means that you can then try and get it right. How many times do you need to get it wrong before you get it right? Documenting it, refining it, analysing it, making it better. Now, normally this section will be packed full of people tinkering away. A lot of this has been put away, but I'll briefly talk to you about what we've done here. So this experience is called Sustainable Suburbs. It's quite low tech, and that's the intention. We have a map here which shows freeways, parklands, water, and people are encouraged to build their own sustainable structure or item. Could be, in this instance, somebody's built a school, they've got solar panels on top. Someone over here has built some sort of mining device. Let's not forget green spaces, trees, plants. It's an amazing playground somebody's built here. These have all been built by quite young people.
What are the blue things, Mike?
Right, the blue things is something that we use called Make Do. And Make Do are these little components. I'll get some out for you, which are here. And it allows the maker to use them as devices to stick things together, which means we don't have to use so much glue or paint or screws, what have you. And then at the end of each session, we can take these apart and these all get used again. So this is a great solution for sticking things together without wastefully using paint and glue.
So, Mike, a lot of the exhibits in the actual exhibition were quite high-tech.
Yeah.
So why did we go with the low-tech kind of?
I think we went with the low-tech in this situation to let people know that solutions to problems don't always have to be high-tech. They don't always have to involve code or data or screens. Getting your hands dirty, making cardboard paper prototypes, using whatever you have to hand to create these things, refining, and then going to a more finished stage could be the way to do it. But this is a very, very popular experience. As I said, normally this is quite packed. We also developed a video. This is actually an unmanned activity. There isn't a presenter here. You come in here and you work it out yourself. So these items you've seen here that have been made, they weren't given any instructions. They just watched the video. There's no sound. There are subtitles, and they built these, which is great. And it's amazing what people, as I said, people build. And hopefully, when they go back to their own hometowns, their own suburbs, their own neighbourhoods, they get to rethink changes they might make in their own environment.
Thanks, Mike.
Cool.
Do you want to take us over to John?
I'm going to take it over to John. John is our schools programs officer. This is John, looks like a rock star. And he's been part of an experience called the Wind Turbine Challenge. Now again, a lot of the wind turbines that we've made have actually
we've been dismantling them and
recycling them. Yeah. So John's going to talk to you about this challenge. But imagine we were surrounded by wind turbines that have been made by our participants.
Yeah.
John.
All right, so the Wind Turbine Challenge is a design
challenge. So the students will be given a brief. They have to build a wind turbine using a set amount of materials, and they've also got a budget. So if you have a look over here, this is our shop. So we've got a bunch of different resources. And this is all very modular, so we can change what type of resources we give the students.
So am I given a budget?
You are. So each group will be given, at the start, a tray with a bunch of tokens, and this will correspond to their money that they'll use to purchase equipment to make their wind turbine.
Is everyone given the same amount?
Yes, everyone's given the same amount. And so once students have come up with a bit of a design, they'll have a go at making a prototype. So one of the focuses of this challenge is that they're not going to be making something perfect. They're going to be making something that probably have plenty of mistakes along the way, and they're going to be learning from those mistakes. So even though their wind turbine might not spin properly the first time, or maybe the second or even the third, they're going to work together as groups to figure out a way to make it happen. And I'll show you some things we've got over here. So these are just some examples of what some of the students have made using the material. And we also get them to test their wind turbines over here in this little testing chamber. So we'll have a bunch of the fans set up. Students will have, oh, here we go, here's a prototype that they can test out, see if it works, see if it doesn't. And they'll also have these things called pocket labs. Pocket labs are multi-sensors that
Can I zoom in on one of
Yeah, of
those and
course.
just so what is
this is some technology we're using to help facilitate this activity.
So what is a pocket lab?
So a pocket lab is a multi-sensor. It's got a whole bunch of different sensors inside it that can detect all sorts of things like temperature or velocity, humidity, acceleration due to gravity, height, all sorts of things. We use this to measure for the wind turbine challenge angular velocity, which is really just how fast the wind turbine is spinning. So this gives the students some real-time data to show how fast their wind turbine is going. So Quinton's got over here the data that the Pocket Lab's collecting. Let me get at an angle. There we go. So you can see that green line there. That's showing the speed that the wind turbine is spinning.
So you can test the success of each design almost immediately.
That's it. And so students can look at this and think, what do I need to do to maybe make this spin faster? Could I try using some different materials to try and catch the wind? Could I use a different setup of the blades? Would it be something as simple as just changing its position in front of the fan? You can notice the spot you put it has an effect. And all of these questions the students will reflect on at the end to consider what their successes and what their challenges were. So they're going to come across problems. The whole point is that the students figure out ways to solve these problems as groups.
Is the Pocket Lab something they'll have experienced here for the first time, or?
Yeah, some schools might use it, but generally we found that most schools haven't had an experience using the Pocket Labs.
Is it something that I could get at home and use my own projects, or is it more like an industry thing?
You can purchase Pocket Labs online. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much they cost.
Okay.
I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of $100 Australian. But they just connect via Bluetooth to any device like an iPad, and you can measure all sorts of things. And you can also record your data, and then you can analyze it from there.
So is anything surprising you found out in people's designs? Does bigger equate better?
Not necessarily. We found a really huge array of different designs. So not all of them kind of look like this. This particular design is an anemometer. I think I pronounced that right.
Can you say that again, please?
An anemometer. I don't think I can say it a third time. The idea there is that it'll have kind of cups that catch the wind. This is different to this standard wind turbine, which is horizontal axis wind turbine. Where you can see the axis that makes it spin is horizontal. All sorts of different designs. The students will vary in how long they take in planning and considering what materials to use, and then actually constructing. So it's very interesting to see just the really wide array of designs that any one group can come up with.
So John, for any parents or teachers watching, any tips for them on how you would run a similar activity in the classroom setting or at home?
I guess making sure you've got a nice array of different materials, because the type of materials that you have at your disposal will vary in success depending on what it is you want to make. Sometimes wood or cardboard might be really good for one project. You might be wanting to use plasticine or plastic or things like that for a different project.
Yeah, so with that question as well, we're quite spoiled here with the amount of tech we can utilise in our experiences.
Yep. What
What learnings could you give us if somebody wanted to replicate something similar in a school environment or a home environment? How do you tailor?
You can use a lot of recyclable materials. You can see a lot of the things we've got are quite easy to access. Things like newspaper cups, pop sticks, dowel, elastic bands. These are all really simple, common things that can be used to build and prototype. I think a really important thing about the process, though, is to remember that it's probably not going to work the first time you do it. And that's totally fine. The way you learn about how all the parts function and how it ultimately works is by testing, experimenting, improving, taking those risks, and then analysing at the end what worked and what didn't. So a bit of persistence and acceptance that things aren't going to go straight away is really important.
Oh, thanks, John. That's fantastic. So one thing, so you're probably thinking, oh, this is all fantastic. How can, I'm sure you're all really wishing you were right here in Perth right now. So one thing we do have, and one way we're using technology, is we have a lot of resources on our website. So if you go to Scitech, to the Earth Matters part of the website, you can find lots of resources on how to run activities at home and in the classroom.
And would I be right in thinking this is just a small part of this whole experience? There are so many things that link in. Would I be right in thinking there's actually a planetarium with
we have a planetarium here. And we have a puppet theatre, a science theatre as well. So yeah, we try to create, I guess, an ecosystem of all different experiences.
And there are activities online as well, and videos.
So there are activities online. You can go on there. There's a challenge to design your own sustainable sneakers. You can learn how to build an insect hotel in your own backyard, which is a really cool one for increasing biodiversity. All sorts of things, and we're adding to them all the time. So yeah, definitely check it out, and feel free to get in touch as well. And if you do use them, we'd love to hear from you because it's open and accessible for anyone around the world to use.
Yeah. I think we are done. We're a little bit, I think it's about 47 minutes. Yeah, so...
cool. Thank you for everyone joining us, and we've had a great time showing you a little bit of Scitech, and thank you.
So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, John. Thank you, Quentin. And thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Right, we're going to hand you back now.
We just
bye everyone.
Bye.
See you later.